Come on, open up. Thank you. All right. All right. As I said, my name's Jackie Galambis. Angela is with me as well. We're going to talk about the University of Calgary and transfer applicants. So as you can see from the first slide, we're talking about bold choice, bright futures. And the University of Calgary is a young university. We're just a little over 50 years old, but we're very innovative. Lots of things are always happening at the University of Calgary, especially as we are ranked 6th in Canada as a research facility. The next slide is our digital view book. So I'll give you a moment if you want to download the view book onto your phones before we present or I continue. I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot, the Stoney Nakoda, and the Tsuut'ina First Nations. It is also the city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I am a visitor here, and I want to thank Mother Earth for providing me with shelter and food, and the lovely province of Alberta. This is a topical view of the University of Calgary campus, and it's 526 acres, which sounds like a lot, but everything is pretty close together. You've got lots of green spaces, so on a beautiful day like today, you could be out sitting on the sun with your friends on a nice piece of grass and having a picnic lunch. There's lots of ways to get to the university. There's the transit station, which is to the left of the screen, as well as the C-train. C-train will take you about 10 minutes to get to downtown Calgary, and it's easily accessible, and your student fees, your transit pass is included with your student fees. Lots of things to do. I'm just going to talk a bit about the Olympic Oval. That was built in 1988 for the Winter Olympics. It is still the fastest recording time for ice for speed skating. Lots of things at the University of Calgary. We have the academic. So as I said, we're heavily into research. You can see the amount of funding that is available. But there's also the entrepreneurial side, and entrepreneurial isn't just in the business side. Entrepreneurial could be in engineering, creating a solar car, or working with a group of students to come up with a new invention. So as you can see, just in the last 3 years, we've created over 360 new inventions and innovations, and we look for students to come up with ideas. It's part of what makes us bright and bold. There's 8 undergraduate faculties at the University of Calgary, and they're listed here. Arts, engineering, nursing, business, education, kines, science, and medicine. Now, the Cummings School of Medicine undergraduate is not necessarily a direct entry into our medical program. The medical program is a separate identity from the undergraduate program. It's one of the professional designations. So it's important to know that if you wanted to go into medicine, you can take anything you want to apply to get into the School of Medicine. Now we're in the stuff that I think everyone's interested in. So if you've already been attending a post-secondary or completed, you would be considered a transfer. So with the transfer admission, we look at the 4 various areas: program and faculty specific, GPA, high school and post-secondary course specific, and English language proficiency. For the program and faculty specific, all of our programs are unique. So if you were wanting to transfer into economics, you would need to have English 30-1 or grade 12 equivalency of English, and you'd have to have math 30-1. Now, we would look at that. Some of your courses may have to also, so maybe they want you to have a micro or macro economics. So what we do is we look to see what is specific for that degree and look to see that you've got it. With the GPA, they all vary depending on which faculty you're applying into. For the GPA, it will range between 2.5 and above, or 2.3 and above. High school and post-secondary. So I did touch that very briefly. So English 30-1 is a high school course required for all of our faculties. And like I said, if you're going into economics, you'd have to show that you've taken English 30-1 and Math 30-1, which is calculus. We won't necessarily look at those marks. We just want to know that you have the prerequisite high school requirement courses. English language proficiency. You have to meet the English, I've got a slide on that, but the English language proficiency, you have to have a benchmark. I use IELTS, easy for me. So if you were an international student or you haven't studied in Canada for a minimum of 3 years in the English program, you would have to provide us a test in either TOEFL, IELTS, CALE, that's, like I said, the slide will come. And for IELTS, we need a 6.5 for most of our programs. Or if you were going into nursing, you would need a 7. And that would be a 7 in all the benchmarks. And if you were going in for education, that would be 8 in the IELTS. So how do we calculate your transfer admission average? So we're competitive. It's competitive, and it's calculated based on your last 30 units of academic coursework. So I have no idea if we have somebody here from SAIT, but I will use our SAIT school. So if you had taken culinary arts at SAIT and you wanted to come here and take a university program, undergraduate program, your culinary courses would not transfer over. But if you had maybe taken a math or an English, admissions will look at it to see if it meets the transfer requirements. Okay. So the 30 is academic coursework. So we don't pre-evaluate. We wait until we see your transcript. So we need you to apply, and then we will look at your transcript and we'll see what will be transferred over. And again, it also says about the specific high school courses. It's really important. We're not looking at your average for that. We just want to know that you have the prerequisites for it. It'll make you more successful in the transfer option. So here's the English language requirements. So as you can see, we take lots of different language tests. And there's all sorts of different benchmarks. And I am recording this, so hopefully it'll work and it'll go onto our website afterwards. So with the nursing requirements, like I said, you've got your 7 with nothing below a 7 in all the benchmarks. With the education, it's an 8 with no bands below the 7. Early admission process for transfer students. How does that work? Well, applications opened on October 1st. So the sooner you apply, the better, because we do what's called rolling admission. So we accept your application. You may still be taking post-secondary courses. So you need to start uploading your documents as of January 1st, because if you're in courses right now, you would finish those in late December with your exams. So you can upload those transcripts up until February 1st, which is the deadline to be guaranteed an evaluation for early admission. So basically, you've got a month from the time you finish this current semester to apply. And applications to download won't open up for you until January 1st. So then you'll be giving a conditional admission. And in your student center, which is My UCalgary, it's a student portal that I encourage all students to be checking on a regular basis once they've applied, because there may be something in your to-do list. So for example, there may be, you need to provide English language proficiency tests, and there's going to be a due date of when that needs to be in, which is March the 15th. So you need to put that in and upload it into your student center so that we can see that you've completed that. So that might be a condition. Another condition might be that we want to see your high school transcript. And if you're not from Alberta, we can't download it. So you'll have to get your high school to forward that to us in a sealed envelope to admissions. Can I receive any credit for the courses I previously completed? So if you're an Alberta transfer student, you can go to Transfer Alberta and go through that process and what courses you've taken and which courses you want to take. If you're from BC, there's also the BC Transfer Guide as well. So there's various tools. And as I said at the beginning, we don't pre-evaluate. So your official transfer credit assessments take place after you have applied. And then admissions will go through all of your transcripts and see what is transferred over. So, specific example of transfer. So as I said, so we're going to just use the Faculty of Arts, and I just selected the political science. So with that, you have to have the English 30-1 or grade 12 high school equivalent. So that is a requirement. Your prerequisite university courses, there are none. So there could be some courses that you've taken that will already automatically transfer over. So it's not like you have to have economics, micro or macro for poli-sci. But if you have it, it might transfer over. The estimated GPA for this year is a 2.3. Now that being said, I always encourage students to achieve a higher GPA than that because it will fluctuate over the year depending on the pool of applicants who are applying. So I always say try a little bit higher than what is because it is estimated. Now we'll get into one more detailed. So if you were going to apply to the Haskayne School of Business, we are looking at prerequisite courses. So like I said, you'll need the English 30-1 and the Math 30-1, but you'll also need a minimum of C- or better for a junior English, your maths and stats, and your economics, micro and macro, which makes sense. You're transferring into business. You're not starting at the beginning as a high school student, so you need to have those prereqs so you're going to be successful entering in. As again, it says an estimated competitive average of 2.8. As I said, all of our programs are very competitive. Try and reach above that. All right, so now we have the approximate costs. So it's broken down in Canadian citizens and international students. And you can see that that is one full year. So you would divide that into 2 for your first semester and your second semester. You may have family that you're going to stay with, so residents won't be there. Maybe you don't need to worry about the meal plan either. However, if you are staying with family, you can purchase a swipe card, which you can take to all of the different food kiosks on campus. And what's nice about it is whatever you're charged, you swipe and you don't have to pay the GST. So a little bit of savings there. And with the books and supplies, a lot of times you can use or find used books from the bookstore, which may also help bring down your costs. All right, so now we've talked briefly a little bit about the important dates. So October 1st, as I said, our applications opened. January 1st, if you wanted to stay in residence, it opens on January 1st, and that is also when you can start uploading any of your transcripts. February 1st, as I mentioned, as well, is when is the transcript deadline for early admission for transfer students to be guaranteed an evaluation. March 1st is when the application deadline closes. And you have to make sure that the program choices, you don't make any more changes to your program choices after March 1st. March 15th is the unofficial transcript and supporting documents. So that's where your ELP, English Language Proficiency, would go. Any information that we require would all be in there. But I think the English Language Proficiency really helps. That's probably the one that's usually required. And then on May the 1st is the deadline for students to accept their offer. So once we've received your transcripts, et cetera, and gone through the admission process, we will be contacting you through your student portal. So it is really important to be checking the My UCalgary student portal once you've started your application. Like I said, just in case there's anything in the to-do list for you. And if there's anything that we need, and it'll show you where you are in the application cycle. And so it's important that you be checking that. The June 1st deadline. So if you're taking courses at your post-secondary institution, you should be done by the end of April. And so those are the transfer deadlines for the official transcripts is June 1st. So that gives you, we'll say, roughly a month, 6 weeks to get the official transcripts from the time you've completed your courses at your post-secondary to be sent to the University of Calgary. Those come for your post-secondary typically in a sealed envelope if you're out of province. If you're in the province of Alberta, we can automatically request those transcripts from your post-secondary institution. So you aren't required to send it in to us. We can just pull those. But for anybody outside of the province of Alberta, so Canada or internationally, it is important that you have your Minister of Education send your documents to us by the June 1st deadline. So once we've received all your documents, you've accepted, everything's good, we'll see you at the start of classes on September the 3rd to September the 4th. All right. I know there's lots of questions because I can see you flashing up on my screen. And I'll go over and connect with Angela to see if there's any that we can talk about that are consistent. And how do you connect with us? I'm Jackie, as I said. Lots of ways of connecting with us, futurestudents@ucalgary.ca. So now we'll go over to the questions. And just hold on a moment. It looks like Angela's doing an awesome job in answering all the questions. So just going to do something for a minute. Angela, did you have any questions for me or did you need me for anything? You can connect with me through Teams. All right. We will be here until 12:45 or 1:45. Sorry, my day's getting mixed up. If you've got any questions. And this recording will be posted after open house, should you want to refer back to it. And that will be available on our portal. Or back on the platform. So. Okay, I'm assuming the link to that Zoom is. Well, hello. This is awkward because I usually have some questions asked, but everybody's been answered by Angela. So this is really interesting. Yes, I think we are good, Angela. I think this is great. So like I said, this has been recorded. It will be on posted onto the platform. It'll be next week, so I'll have to download this, etc. But I want to thank all of you for coming, and I hope we were able to answer all your transfer questions. Angela did an awesome job, and thank you for participating.